Hello, Lily and Larson friends. I'm Mrs. Attar, and I have a story to read to you today. It is a chapter from Frog and Toad Are Friends by Arnold Lobel. I really like Frog and Toad stories. So do my first graders. So this one is about losing something. Let's see, have you ever lost something? Let's find out what happens. Toad and Frog went for a long walk. They walked across a large meadow. They walked in the woods and they walked along the river. At last they went back home to Toad's house. "Oh, drat," said Toad. "Not only do my feet hurt, but I have lost one of the buttons on my jacket." You've been for a really long walk and have your feet hurt? I have. And then maybe lose a button? I don't know. Let's see what happens. "Oh, don't worry," said Frog. "We will go back to all the places where we walked, and we will soon find your button." So they walked back to the large meadow, and they began to look for the button in the tall grass. "Here's your button," cried Frog. What a good friend. "That is not my button," said Toad. "That button is black. My button was white." Toad put the black button in his pocket. Okay, so we know Toad has to have a white button. Okay, got that. A sparrow flew down. There's the bird. A sparrow is a bird. "Excuse me," said the sparrow. "Did you lose a button? I found one." "That is not my button," said Toad. "That button has 2 holes and my button has 4 holes." Toad put the button with 2 holes in his pocket. So now we know that it needs to be white and have 4 holes. Okay, they went back to the woods and looked on the dark paths. "Here's your button," said Frog. Wow, they're finding a lot of buttons. "That is not my button," cried Toad. "That button is small. My button was big." Toad put the small button in his pocket. So it has to be big, has to be white. How many holes? Yep, 4 holes. Okay. Okay, so now they come upon a raccoon. A raccoon. That's what a raccoon looks like. A raccoon came out from behind a tree. "I heard that you are looking for a button," he said. "Here is one that I just found." All these animals are being so nice to Toad. "That's not my button," wailed Toad. "That button is square. My button was round." So Toad put the button in his pocket. So what is it? It's going to be big. What color is it? White. How many holes? 4. And is it square? Nope, it's round. Okay, so we got an idea of what his button's going to look like. So Frog and Toad went back to the river and they looked for the button in the mud. "Here's your button," said Frog. "That's not my button," shouted Toad. "That button is thin. My button was thick." Okay. What color? White. Big or small? Big. Thin or thick? Thick. Round or square? Round. How many buttonholes? 4. Okay. We're getting there. We're going to find it. I'm pretty sure he's going to find it. Okay. Well, Toad put the thin button in his pocket. He has a lot of buttons in his pocket. Are you counting how many buttons he has in his pocket? How many? Okay, I'll get back to you. He was very angry. He jumped up and down and he screamed, The whole world is covered with buttons and not one of them is mine." So Toad ran home and he slammed the door. Have you ever slammed the door? Uh-oh. And there on the floor, guess what? Yep, he saw his white, his 4-holed, big, round, thick button. "Oh," said Toad, "it was here all the time. What a lot of trouble I have made for a frog." He did, huh? What a good friend Frog is, though. That's a very good friend. Okay, so Toad took all the buttons out of his pocket and he took his sewing box down from the shelf and Toad sewed the buttons all over his jacket. And then the next day, guess what? Toad gave his jacket to Frog. And Frog thought that it was beautiful, and he put on his new jacket and he jumped for joy. None of the buttons fell off. Toad had sewed them all on very well. Yay! So that's the end. Frog and Toad are friends. That missing button. Okay, hope you liked it. Take care. Miss you. Bye.